Welcome back to Stooge Stream. I'm your host, The Stooge, and here's a random thought. Is Sean Murray this generation's Peter Molyneux? Let's go back a couple of months to all the promised features that we were going to receive in No Man's Sky. The fraction system, the ships that all felt different and fly differently depending on their specs and what class they were. The multiplayer, or the fact that you could interact with people in the universe. The fact that there'd be alien races at war with each other. All of these things that never made it to the final product. Listening to people rant and rave and, the new moniker of No Man's Lie being attached to it, the whole refund saga, and Sean Murray going very quiet, all really reminds me of Peter Molyneux. Who remembers the hype for Fable? Does anyone remember the acorn? You'll be able to plant an acorn and watch a tree grow? It's amazing the parallels that we're having here. Go back and watch Peter Molyneux hype up, any game he's ever worked on, actually. And the amount of stuff he talks about and says that never happens, doesn't exist, the actual people working on the game have no idea about. He's just off on a tangent going, hey, we're going to do this and that, and this is going to be the greatest game of all times. The problem is that people believed Peter Molyneux for a number of years until it turned out that every single thing he said was just flat out bullshit, really. And we, over time, learnt to not believe Peter Molyneux, whereas we wanted to believe him. And I think we live in such a cynical era now that if you say something, you better well damn deliver it, because if not, everyone's going to call you out on that. And I think that's exactly what's happening now with No Man's Sky. People are calling out Sean Murray on the wild exaggerations that he made and the flat out lies that he said during promoting this game. Now, let me just say personally, I actually like No Man's Sky for what it is. It's a very peaceful, exploring, crafting game. That's it. That's the entire game. Resources, craft, new upgrades, go to the next planet, do the same thing. That's all there is to it. There's no more. The Hello Games didn't add any more game to this game. Unfortunately, Sean Murray promised so many fantastical features that people now feel really upset and ripped off with the fact that it's not the game that they were promised. It's not the game that they were shown. There's demos out there that they did showing all of these other things that just don't seem to exist in the game. Were those demos faked, like Peter Molyneux was known to do with, what was it, Kate and Leo, that virtual reality kinetic game that apparently he was creating where you interacted with a little boy on screen and he'd actually interact. He was artificial intelligence, which didn't exist and was all faked with a video and a model and a model/actress. It kind of feels like we were led down that merry path again of, look at this, here's the smoke and mirrors, here's the game you really want. We couldn't make that, so we gave you less than half of that. All in all though, again, I honestly think No Man's Sky isn't a bad game. And there's a lot of room to improve. I think a No Man's Sky 2 would be fantastic in a couple of years' time. If they take everything they've put into No Man's Sky and add more combat, add in a fraction system, add in multiplayer, I think this has got a lot of room to grow. As an initial offering from basically an independent developer, it's a great title. It's just not the title people expected. And again, Sean Murray has really put himself into Peter Molyneux territory now, and no one will ever believe anything he has to say again, because we've learnt, don't give people a second chance because they're full of shit. So unfortunately, he has Peter Molyneux to thank or really dislike for that. But all in all, has Sean Murray become this generation's Peter Molyneux? Only time will tell. He's on the right path by overhyping games and talking about features that don't exist. Will he ultimately have that same legacy? Who knows? Who knows? Before Peter Molyneux left Microsoft, he used to be flanked by 3 PR people anywhere he went, because the second he opened his mouth, they'd step in and go, that's not true. They got that bad. He left Microsoft because of that. Started his own company, and now he doesn't do press because he got interviewed and asked flat out, first question, are you a pathological liar? And since then, he doesn't do press anymore. Well, he did a press tour to say that he doesn't do press anymore, but he hasn't done press really since then. I think it'd be in Hello Games' best interests to put Sean Murray behind closed doors, find somebody who knows how to PR a game properly, and put them on Front Street for their next offering. I'm excited to see what they come up with next, because if a developer this small can come up with a title this big on their first go out, just imagine what they can do on their second, third, or fourth go. But if we keep burying Hello Games because of Sean Murray, we're never going to see another game from them again. The studio's going to go away. So what we need to think about is, are the talented people behind this game people that we want to see developing more games? Or do we just want to crucify Sean Murray? It's something to think about. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, share, subscribe. There's always new content coming.